The desire is not for your dream, but for the sake for someone. He remained a beggar. His beloved roof turned away from him. No sign of success. Hello guys, my name is Julia and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to record my first video review of the book, and this will be Jack London's novel Martin Eden. And the first thing I want to say, I'm upset. Before this book, I had not read Jack London's works, and I was sure that a happy end awaits me in the end of this book, because my husband recommended this book to me, and he knows my preferences. I read the last chapters until the 4 a.m. Don't do that. Waiting for a wonderful ending, to fall asleep sweetly and dream up a wonderful continuation of this happy story. But that not was the case. But I won't spoil it. Let's talk about historical component of this novel, and let's philosophize on some topics that caught my attention. The novel takes place at the beginning of 20th century in the Auckland, developing several storylines in parallel. Of course, there is a love line, where would we be without it? Class differences, personality development, psychological and philosophical views, and political conflict. I would highlight these 5 topics, but I'm sure other readers will have much more or less. I would like to talk in this video about classism, psychological, love, and personality development, of course. Particularly due to the fact that the novel is partly autobiographical, and it is in these aspects that the similarity between the author and the main character is manifested, or a character is an author. For example, Jack London describes in detail Martin Eden's work in a laundry. He explained to the smallest details how the process works, from how things arrive to ironing itself. And with the same detail, he talks about the technology that helps them cope with such complex work. The author himself gained this knowledge while working in a laundry in this youth. The main character of the novel, like author, comes from lower class and is a hard worker. He is uneducated and slightly aggressive, which is manifested of his love of fighting. And he also loves the sea, which is how he earns his living. He is also distinguished by his interest in music and literature, which is atypical for his social circle. By the will of fate, he meets a girl from bourgeois society. And having fallen in love, he tries with all his might to break into the upper, so to speak, strata of the population, to capture the heart of this charming girl. Notes of conditional love are already evident here, and I would say trying to buy love by changing yourself. But so far everything looks healthy and quite motivation. Martin set about his education, begins to read a wide variety of literature, learn new words, and improve his speech. Having become even more familiar with literature, he realized that he himself wanted to write and publish in magazines. And having learned that he can also get excellent income from publications, our hero decided that he would do nothing else except improve his skills and send manuscripts to magazines. He could not eat for several days, slept only 5 hours a day. Meanwhile, the reserves of money, like Martin's body, were depleted, and he had to take his things to a pawn shop. Of course, this was not to the liking of either working friends or relatives, and even his beloved Ruth soon turned away from him. But our hero didn't lose faith in himself. He read articles in newspapers and compared them with his own, and he liked his own better. And also, having acquired knowledge in politics and philosophy, he became disillusioned with high society, saying that he had outgrown them. Meanwhile, there was no food left, and there was nothing left to pawn at the pawn shop. He remained a beggar, but he continued to write and unsuccessfully submit manuscripts to journals. And here I would like to reflect a little. After all, the situation is quite vital. Everything that will be said below is just my opinion. You may not agree with it and express your disagreement in the comments. What did I see here? Firstly, the desire is not for your dream as such, but for the sake for someone. Why did this bother me? Because if we think about it, in fact 40% of those around me live in such an unconscious paradigm. Yes, and I myself, to be honest. But does this ultimately make the person himself or his environment at least happy? Usually it's the opposite. It only makes you depressed. Secondly, what kind of unbridled blind self-confidence is this? I was so triggered by this throughout the book. Now, of course, the character's tenacity is certainly admirable. There is a lot to learn. But reality hits you hard. There is no sign of success. There is a path to poverty, hunger, and that's it. And here we come to the topic of balance. It seems to me this is one of the most important concepts in a person's life which he needs for happiness. For about a third of the book, I was left with a question. Why not get a job that won't take up a lot of your time? Let it not be a part-time job for the whole day, but it will allow you not to pawn things in a pawn shop and devote the remaining time to self-development, writing books, and other things that are so necessary to achieve the goal. Of course, sometimes it really helps to dive into a topic head first in order to gain experience, find out the details, and work on something. But you need to emerge from there in time, to look from a different perspective from the outside, and to gain new different experience. This is sketchy because this happens very often in our life, probably every person. When you focus on one goal, you can't see anything else. For example, move up the career ladder. A person tirelessly moves toward his goal, not noticing the banal joys around him that could give him more strength, more energy to realize this goal. Of course, I'm not saying that you don't need to dream, that you don't need to set goals and achieve them. What I mean is that balance is needed. But would Martin Eden have achieved such stunning success if he had done what seems right to me? Who knows? Write your opinion in the comments. Speaking of success, our main character finally comes to him. His manuscripts are starting to be published. Books are being printed in some crazy editions. He gains such popularity that he could not even dream of. But there is one but. Everything that is now being printed was written in those days when everyone abandoned him. And now that he has this means, he has become the most revered in society. Everyone wanted to communicate with him, everyone wanted to invite him to the dinner, and Martin Eden didn't understand why he was uninterested then, why didn't understand his work then. And with these thoughts, he lived until the end of his days. Having lost faith in humanity, in mutual selfless love, and having no friends, Martin Eden set off on an eternal voyage, committing suicide. And in my, as you may already understand, immodest opinion, selfishly leaving the only woman who loved him unconditionally, not for something, but in spite of everything. Later, at the end of 20th century, appeared the term Martin Eden syndrome. This term is widely used by psychologists in our time, and it means the state of a person that arises as a result of achieving a goal. When a person, having inflated expectation, sets too high goals, elevates them to absolute, and through exhaustion strive to achieve them with all your might. But due prolonged stress, the human psyche is disrupted and a very real disease develops, which leads to death in a natural way. Such are the things. I hope this video and book do not discourage you from dreaming and setting big goals. On the contrary, they encourage you and all of us to find balance in life and to enjoy it now. This is what has been necessary at all times, and in our time perhaps even more is needed. And I'm not saying goodbye to you. Julia Kava was with you, and see you in the new video. Bye!